Today I'm doing a kind of fermented sweet and sour carrot and apple chutney recipe. It's completely experimental. It's based on a fermented carrots recipe that I've tried before and didn't turn out that great, and just the idea of carrots and apples and doing something amazing with that combination. So I'm going to start by grating some organic apples in my food processor. These have already been cored and had all the bad spots cut off. I'm aiming for about a cup of grated apple, and I have somewhere between 2 and 3 apples worth of organic apple cut up here, but I had to cut off so many bad spots, I'm not really sure exactly what the ratio is there. And then I'm just going to grate some carrots in on top of that. Now I have the carrots and apples in a bowl. I'm afraid I ended up with more carrots than apples. I was going for more of a 50-50 ratio, and I don't think that's quite what I hit, but we'll give it a try and see how this works. It's all experimental anyway. I'm going to add a tablespoon of salt, and of course this is my favorite pink Himalayan sea salt. The reason for so much salt is because I'm not adding whey to this mixture, so it needs plenty of salt to get it fermenting properly. And then a tablespoon of turbinado sugar to help with that sweetness. And then I'm adding a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and I'll be adding a teaspoon of ground ginger as well. And there's the teaspoon of ginger. Too much ginger. There, something like that. Now I think I'm going to go ahead and add a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar as well. That was not my original plan, but as I'm thinking about it, that's going to help with the balance of flavors and to help jumpstart the fermentation. And then I'm just going to mix this all up. You can use a spoon if you like, but I'm just going to get my hands down into it. Now I'm going to pack this tightly into a pint jar. Now if this were short on liquid, I would add some more filtered water to make sure all of the fermenting vegetables were covered, but because of the cider vinegar and because the apples are so juicy, there's plenty of liquid to more than cover all of the vegetables in there. Now I'm going to loosely cap this, and by that I mean I'm going to set the canning lid on there, and then I'm going to give the ring about half a turn. So this still has plenty of wiggle room in it, and it's not capped down so tightly that the fermentation gases are going to stay in and make the jar explode. And I expect this will take about 3 or 4 days to ferment, but I'll probably check on it every day since it's a new kind of ferment, and we'll see how it does. Alright, I wish I'd videoed when I did a taste check of this relish at 2 to 3 days of fermentation, because I think my face was pretty epic when I tasted it. And I thought the only thing I can hope is that the flavor kind of evens out if I keep fermenting it, because it certainly can't get any more sour. I think adding the apple cider vinegar was a mistake. It might have actually been about right if I just fermented it with the salt and the sugar. So I'm going to taste it again. We'll see how this goes. This is after about 6 or 7 days of fermentation and then a little time in the fridge. And despite the faces I'm making, it's not actually bad. It just is that intense. And unfortunately, I'm having trouble coming up with a lot of uses for something that's sweet and cinnamony, but also packs that much punch of intensity and sourness. And the only thing I can think is it might be really good with like pork chops or a hunk of meat like that. So I can't decide whether to call this a fail or not, because I actually like the concept. It just has a little too much sourness for me, at least eating it plain. And obviously most of the time you're not going to be eating relish plain. So I think it works. I may have to film another segment and let you know whether I figured out how to actually use the stuff though. I'm still hesitant about what to do exactly with this carrot apple relish stuff that I made. I tried it on a hot dog and it wasn't bad, but I kind of kept thinking I would have preferred it without the relish, so I think I'm going to have to call this a fail. But please comment below if you can come up with any good ideas for using up this pint of carrot apple relish that I have that's kind of meh. And thanks for watching.